afternoon, BTT members. Happy Monday. Just also a heads up, next Monday there will be no stream because I'm going to need a day to recuperate from massive Comic-Con coverage, which starts, of course, really late on Wednesday night with Scare Diego. We're looking to see the It Chapter 2 trailer late that evening. The event starts at like 11:30 p.m., so it's going to be ridiculous. All right, everybody, so thank you for accommodating this earlier stream today. I have to be out later this afternoon, but I wanted to make sure we didn't miss a stream. Trying to make sure I have these as often as possible. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk, of course, as usual, about the 3 stories, and then you may ask me anything that you would like for the final 10 minutes of the stream. Thank you, Dennis. I am rocking a new shirt today. Very proud of it. I got it down at Hudson Yards at the Neiman Marcus, actually. Treated myself. Actually, my parents owed me some money, so I said, you don't have to pay me back. You can buy me that shirt instead. All right, so anyway, thank you for joining me. Where are you guys watching from today? Where is everybody streaming from? I'm so glad the shirt's a hit. I will wear it more often. I shall put it into rotation. Abdullah is from Dubai. Pastor Madeline is, are you actually a pastor? Is watching from Dayton, Ohio. Just ate carnitas and guac. Oh, you're making me hungry. Let's see here. The movie lover, only an hour and a half of sleep in Vancouver. Oh, I know the feeling. Liam is from a super sunny walk home in Newcastle, UK. Let's see here. Victor says it's lunchtime in sunny Belize. That sounds wonderful. Daniel says just got back from work in Serbia, the land where they shot Crawl. Alex is in hot South Texas. Mardova and Edward are both in Toronto. Lauren, hey Lauren, is in Oklahoma at home. Dwayne is supervising a call center. I won't tell anyone, Dwayne, don't worry about it. Let's see here. Emily is drinking hot coffee in Utah. Hot coffee in hot Utah. Way to commit. Let's see here. David's in Burbank on the Disney lot, typical work day. Lily is baking cookies for her friend's birthday. That's so sweet of you. And Nick is having a bagel sandwich, delicious, and watching BTT. Good way to spend his break. Oh, I'm so glad you think so. Tracy's in Indiana, and Pastor Madeline is a pastor, working a seminary in Ohio. That's wonderful. Wow, how wonderful. Cam Hubbard, oh, hey Cam. Cam's in Iowa. Joseph's eating breakfast. I know you're in SoCal. And Carlos says, my job interview is at 6. Good luck. Yes, it is Reese Ephens. And also, I didn't realize it. I felt so bad because I was looking at the write-up afterwards because I try not to sway my opinion on the trailer as much as, as little as possible. And I was so surprised that Ray Fiennes is playing T.E. Lawrence, a.k.a. Lawrence of Arabia. They should have made that a lot clearer in the trailer. Scott, hey Scott. Scott's working on the Aladdin Blu-ray in Burbank. You didn't tell me that. Oh, I'm so excited. We're going to definitely do a watch-along for Aladdin for sure. Dhruv is doing recon in Area 51. Did you hear that the U.S. Air Force said, please don't storm our base. We might have to shoot you. They didn't say that for sure. But they were like, it's an active military base, so please stay away. It's hilarious. I like that someone tweeted and said, please stream this for the rest of us. And I was like, I would like to see it. All right, so let's get to the 3 stories of the day. And then, of course, as usual, you may ask me anything that you would like. All right, story number 1. I'm not making a video about this because right now it's just toxicity in a nutshell. And I'm like, but we can discuss it here on the stream. Truth be told, if I had 3 better stories, I probably wouldn't have discussed it today. Because this story, I'm a little upset about, and I've already, tweeted about it. I'm a little upset about how misleading so much of it is. Sean, you're right. In the new trailer, Gemma Arterton is Mata Hari. It's very interesting. We'll go over it if the movie is if the King's Man gets more people interested. I will cover it more extensively. But I'll have that. We'll discuss that information in the next trailer for sure. All right. So anyway, Lashana Lynch. So The Sun on Sunday put up an article, The Sun, of course, being Rupert Murdoch's first newspaper, well, outside of Australia, which really, set the tone and was like the forerunner to what he did with Fox News. So it's really interesting. But anyway, they ran an article saying that there would be a popcorn dropping moment when Rafe Fiennes, interestingly enough, as M, says, "Come into my office, 007. And who comes in but Lashana Lynch? And the idea is that, of course, after Bond is retired, his number hasn't retired. It should be like sports, where they retire your jersey, right? Hanging over Q's head, gathering dust downstairs. But no, there's a new 007, and it's Lashana Lynch. But not for long, they say, as she has to recruit Bond out of retirement. He flirts with her. At first, she shuts him down. And then, of course, she can't resist his charms for long. And you're like, this is a human resources nightmare. I'm like, Bond, I don't know. Like, I think Bond kind of like has to move away from that behavior because it's just so dated and like cringy now, I think it's really hard to even look back at some of the old Bond movies. You're like, what now? It's funny. I watched them as a child, and they never bothered me. But and also, I didn't pick up on any of the inappropriateness. But then when I got older, I was like, whew, a lot of innuendo in here, boy. But anyway, so that's the real situation. Some people are saying, oh, Lashana Lynch is the new James Bond. And there people are like, no, she's the new 007. And those people are like, okay, fine. James Bond and 007 are different things. And so she will continue on as the new 007. And it's like, no, because as the Sun itself even mentioned, Barbara Broccoli, who produces the movies, is still looking for a new actor to take over as James Bond after this. So it's really clickbait, not only by the Sun, but also by the Bond 25 movie, saying, oh, isn't it cool? You have a black female 007 for like 5 minutes. Oh, enjoy, yay. And then they're going to go right back to the way things were with the next movie. Because, every time you have a new Bond, it's a whole new setup. You have a whole new bunch of other people. It would be interesting, actually. That would be really interesting if instead of having a whole new reset every time they got a new Bond, they just would have new people who would be the next 007. And the number would continue. And James Bond would always be James Bond. And then that's actually really good. Maybe I will make a video about that. Hold on. Let me make a note. 1 second. Thanks for working this out with me, guys. That works very, very well. But anyway, and also I think that the Bond franchise needs something like that. Like maybe Bond should be about all the double O's, I think that would maybe perhaps be more interesting. I think that, Bond is based on, this really archaic view of not only spycraft, but also, gender relations. And I think, it's really hard to make it seem more modern. Now, of course, some people had felt a good way to do that would be to update who plays Bond in terms of ethnicity. And that's why Idris Elba, Naomi Harris, who plays Moneypenny, of course, is the one who actually put that forward. Because, Idris Elba is from the UK. He could totally be James Bond. Although I have to say, Trevor Noah has a really funny bit about that. You should check out his stand-up on Netflix. But anyway, it got so bad and people were so upset about the fact that Idris Elba could be James Bond that he actually had to ask Naomi Harris to stop talking about it. He's like, you're ruining my career. And you can see, I don't think Idris Elba has had the kind of opportunities he should have because he kind of got stuck with that he wanted to be James Bond. And he was like, I had no idea. I didn't even want to do it. Noah 007. I think you had a typo, but I like the idea of like some guy named Noah being the new 007. Very woke. But anyway, I think Idris Elba, to be honest with you, would make a wonderful James Bond, but the fan base rejected it to such a degree that if I were Lashana Lynch, I'd be like, keep that away from me. I don't want her to get stuck in this situation, especially because she's not even in that situation. She's just a Bond. They don't call them Bond girls anymore. They're Bond women. She's just a Bond woman. Riz Ahmed, he'd be a wonderful Bond as well. I love Riz Ahmed. Why doesn't he get a new work? But also what's interesting to me is they've already changed Ariel. As I said, not so much a change, but a correction because she's a Caribbean princess. And then also there's significant discussion that Riri Williams will be the next Iron Man, which I think will have probably, sadly, the same reaction that the Ariel casting did. So I also feel, though, to do all of this in a row with Lashana Lynch, the idea of Lashana Lynch, Ariel, and Iron Man, I think that that doesn't help any of those castings. I think you need to really support the castings, and if it just looks more like a trend, then I think it looks weaker than the seriousness it should be approached with. But anyway, I do feel there's an argument for original characters here. I am very much in favor of the Ariel casting change for the reasons that I've discussed. And I think that Bond, you can't change James Bond, but I think you can play around with the number. That's really interesting to me. The 007 situation is very, very interesting indeed. But as far as I think, I don't think James Bond's very difficult to play with. But if you could do a great female spy, then that would be wonderful. A new character, like look how successful Killing Eve is. Hopefully they don't kill that show with their continuing bad story discussions. All right, so that's the first story of the day. Good luck, Lashana Lynch. I hope this doesn't stick to you because you're very talented. Lashana Lynch is incredibly talented. So good in Captain Marvel. All right, hold on. That's the first story of the day. Now, the second story, right over Elvis's face. Sorry, Elvis. So the second story, I always forget about where the box is going to fall. So anyway, the second story of the day is that Baz Luhrmann, remember him? Well, he still wants to work. He had a rough time of it. The Get Down on Netflix was a huge flop, and so Baz Luhrmann has really struggled. But he's trying to make a comeback with an Elvis biopic. He wants to make a movie about the rise and zenith, which means the height of the fame of Elvis Presley. And I have to say, Baz Luhrmann has a very experimental approach to things. I sure loved his Great Gatsby. But that's what, you think, well, what could he do with Elvis Presley? But I don't know if any of you have seen the Cirque du Soleil Elvis Presley show in Vegas. I actually haven't seen it, but I have the soundtrack to it, and it's fabulous. So I really, really liked it. And so I think that there's room for experimentation with Elvis Presley's music. Also, Elvis Presley has an incredibly unique background that's never really been discussed. So we're going to talk about that in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the project. So Tom Hanks will also star as Colonel Tom Parker, who was Elvis Presley's manager. Now, yes, so one of you pointed out, Mika said, Austin Butler was in The Dead Don't Die. I went to that premiere, as you know, and when I was about to walk the red carpet, Vanessa Hudgens was going before me, and I was like, why the heck is Vanessa Hudgens here? She's not in this movie. Well, she's dating Austin Butler. As you can see there, she is glued to him on the Vanity Fair red carpet. In a really ridiculous pose, which is why I used that photo. Now, so far, she's unfortunately been Austin Butler's only claim to fame. He's like, stand in photos with me, Vanessa, so that people pick them up and my photo gets out there. That's really, honestly, why they're doing it. Because people will pick up her picture, but no one's going to run Austin Butler's picture, but they will run a crazy, ridiculous picture like that. So they both win. Neither one's really working, so getting their pictures out there is really good for both of them. Anyway, in The Dead Don't Die, he has a very small role, but I will say that he did pop off the screen. He has that star quality. I don't know how good of an actor he is, but he does capture your attention, and I think he has an interesting look about him. He certainly, as you can see, sporting the Elvis hair right there. But what's very interesting to me is that Elvis Presley, for those of you who don't know, he grew up in a largely black neighborhood in Mississippi, and he was exposed to black musicians and their music. And he decided that he would, take that really popular music, which unfortunately wasn't listened to by a lot of people because of really unfortunate positions back then, but he kind of was a bridge, right? And he was actually accused by a number of people, including people in the black community, for stealing their stuff. So that's not great. But also, a lot of people mistook Elvis Presley for being black himself, or mixed race. I don't think Austin Butler has that look at all. And so I think that that's an important part of Elvis's legacy and history. So I think that he's kind of a good choice. He's not an ideal choice. Maybe Miles Teller. I don't know. Miles Teller, as Grismeyer just pointed out, Miles Teller is really box office poison at this point, and from what I've heard, incredibly difficult. And I've actually interviewed him, and he was really difficult. He was even a difficult interview. So I think I would have maybe kept looking, but I think Austin Butler, I think he's a good enough choice. And let's see what the real star, of course, will be what Baz Luhrmann decides to do with this. Also, he'll be sitting next to Tom Hanks, and everybody always loves Tom Hanks. Elvis is not mixed race, Lauren Masters, but many people thought that he was at the time. That's important to point it out. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Hold on, we have a third story. Now, the third story of the day is about Damien Chazelle, who, of course, I really loved Whiplash. Thought it was a fabulous movie with J.K. Simmons, won him the Oscar, and Miles Teller, interestingly enough, although Miles didn't win an Oscar. He probably really needed it. But anyway, Damien Chazelle, of course, went on to do La La Land. La La Land, I hated that movie with a passion. A lot of people actually don't like La La Land. La La Land really had a bit of a backlash. In fact, it was a joke in Stuber that I saw on Saturday. But it's an undeniable success. It made $446 million globally for that movie. That's nuts. And also, of course, was a big Oscar winner. Almost won Best Picture, but to the delight of many, people audibly cheered in the Oscar auditorium when Moonlight when it was corrected, and I was so happy. A lot of people were happy when that happened, but some people were sad as well. But anyway, huge hit, La La Land. So, first, Damien Chazelle teamed up with Ryan Gosling for First Man, which I felt was very weak. Many people felt it was weak. Not a big awards contender. So, guys are pointing out it bombed. Not a big box office contender. But it was pretty good. It had good moments. It won for visual effects, which I thought that it deserved, actually. But now, Damien Chazelle is like, don't worry, Emma Stone. I'm going to back you up now. And so now he and Emma Stone are teaming up for his next movie. This is called Babylon, right? It takes place in 1920s Hollywood. It's a 180-page script, and the budget is from 80 to 100 million. Now, apparently that sounds like a drama to me. Now, if you want to see a more lighthearted comedic look at the silent era transitioning to talkies, which this movie is rumored to be about, you should totally watch Singin' in the Rain. Fabulous stuff. But this is going to be a more realistic approach. I have to tell you, movies about Hollywood behind the scenes historically have not done well at the box office. They're a tough sell. We'll see how Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie in it. It's got, if any movie's going to succeed, it's that one, about Hollywood behind the scenes. Emma Stone, I think a solid box. Emma Stone's interesting. She's either a lot of fun and brings in a huge audience, or she's nails on a chalkboard grading and no one shows up. So she's a real mixed bag. And I think this project sounds like a mixed bag. Rumor is that she'll be playing Clara Bow, an early sex symbol and Hollywood's first it girl. So we'll see how it turns out. She is supposed to be doing that Cruella de Vil movie. You're right, Max. But I just feel this sounds very pretentious and maybe very similar to La La Land. It's usually with a movie, it's usually a page a minute. So 180 pages would be a 180-minute movie. So that's a 3-hour movie. I'd be like, wow, what the heck could this possibly be about? All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. It's 1:24. So until 1:34, you may ask me anything that you would like. Anything. I look so yellow on this thing all the time. It drives me crazy. I don't know if it's a musical, Emac Daddy. That's a good question. You're right, James. Emma Stone is quite the Academy darling. And an Oscar winner now for La La Land. I like Grismeyer. 3 hours? I don't think so. Alex, I've never enjoyed the Ironheart comics, unfortunately. I thought Riri Williams didn't work out as well as Jane Foster as as Thor. But I feel it's kind of weird. They can't switch Iron Man and Thor to a woman at the same time. Although Thor's not going anywhere for a little bit. Katie says, will you do a casting video for Young Avengers if it is announced at Comic-Con? Good idea, Katie. I shall. Let me put that in my notes. 1 second. Marvel panel. Any casting. Okay. All right. That was very good, Katie. Cam, happy retail shopping day, but I'm actually participating in the Amazon boycott because I feel bad for the people who work there. I thought Stuber was okay. I wouldn't rush out to see Stuber, but I think if you wanted to stream something later on or you wanted to go to the movies, you would have a nice time. Kumail Nanjiani's very funny. And I thought Dave Bautista was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about, but he did what he needed to do in the movie. Max says, how does the Feige-Pascal working relationship work? Do they have to agree? Does she report to him? I think it's more of a peer relationship. Now, first, I want to be clear, I don't have any actual knowledge of how they work together. But Amy Pascal is a pretty big figure in Hollywood. She's, had a lot of success before the email scandal, and she's very highly respected, as you can see, because she's still in Hollywood, even though she wrote a lot of mean emails. And she's having a lot of success after a little bit of a difficult time. So I think there's probably like a mutual respect. And of course, Kevin Feige's so incredibly successful. I think that, sorry, one of you, I like the idea for, Abdul, I like your idea for a video. Thank you. I think Kevin Feige's so successful that I think Amy Pascal would seriously listen to anything that he did and want to run her thoughts by him. So I think it's probably a cordial relationship of peers. Hold on, I gotta write a note down. That was really good. I was really struggling with whether or not to do a spoiler review for The Lion King because I was like, we've all seen it. This is a much more fun thing to do. All right. Hugo says, are you still nervous about Mulan? Yes, I am. I think if it doesn't have the music, I think that's going to be really problematic. Pastor Madeline says, Tom Holland tweeted about how well the movie was doing. Do you agree? Oh, yeah. I think financially, as I said both times of Movie Math, we've discussed it, it's fantastically successful financially. Some people thought that I was saying it was not a financial success. It's definitely a financial success. It was a huge financial success out of the gate, as I said, and it continues to be. But I still feel that no one's talking about the movie, which is really weird. So no one talked about Homecoming either, so I don't understand what's going on. Joseph, I don't know if I'm going to make a Stranger Things 4 prediction video. I feel like the moment passed. I'm really frustrated that they released it over a holiday, which also had a big family commitment for me with a family birthday. It was just a mess. And I feel like they didn't really give a lot of interesting things to set up a new season besides the Hopper stuff. So I think I might have missed my opportunity to make that video, especially because I'm going to be working like crazy for Comic-Con. Too Much says, why is Emma Frost one of your favorite characters in comics? She is one of my favorites because she is such a badass. I love Emma Frost. I don't like the way she's been written after Grant Morrison left, but I think what Grant Morrison did with the character was so wonderful that it still, to me, makes, that shadow still hangs over her. Now she's basically Cyclops' crazy ex-girlfriend, and I don't like that at all. But I just thought she was really cool. She's basically the female version of Damian Wayne, another Grant Morrison creation that I really like. I haven't read the Kitchen comic yet, Adrian. I just haven't had a chance. Matt says, squeaky wheel, Grace. Neil Gaiman said he proposed a Marvel 1602 TV show to Disney, but they weren't interested. Do you think a Marvel 1602 show would work? Would you like to see one? I would not. I did not like that comic, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought it dragged. And also, I think with all the historical elements and the superpower elements, it would just be too expensive for Disney to do, especially because it's so niche. I mean, you have to have a real appreciation for really a lot of, and also Neil Gaiman picked history that was not particularly popular, right? So I don't think it works. Lily says, what are your predictions for the It Chapter 2 trailer? If it's Jessica Chastain centric again, I will believe it, but I'll be like, why are they allowing her to take over this movie? Emilio says, Grace, do you think Christopher Nolan is a Republican? I just watched the Dark Knight trilogy and Interstellar, and his ideas are very GOP. Your ideas? Well, I don't know what Christopher Nolan's political affiliation is. He might be conservative, but I would be surprised if he sided with the Republican Party as it is today. Let's see here. Mika, I heard that Supergirl is ready to be cast, but obviously they have not cast it. I heard it was coming soon. Oh, I appreciate the questions about merch. I had an idea for merch, but my MCN is not into merch, so that's kind of holding me up a little bit. Liberty Bell, I love David Tennant too, but he was already in the MCU and Marvel Netflix as the Purple Man, so I don't know if he can do anything else. Oh, Jan, I think the Boys comic will definitely be disgusting. For sure. Because it's Seth Rogen. He likes to do these things accurate, and I think that limits his audience, but I'm hoping that the Boys is good. That's right, the movie lover. You all witnessed a unicorn. I don't know if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 unicorns, maybe 3. Nolan's actually British, so he's whatever is in the middle of England, whatever is a moderate in England. I like Natalie Dyer or Maya Hawke. I think they're both very talented, Zakaria. Someone should pick them up for sure. Maya Hawke's very good. I think she pops a little more than Natalie Dyer, to be honest with you. Sean, I think Jane Goldman is meh. I think she's not consistent enough as a screenwriter. 1 minute! I haven't heard anything about the Love, Simon Disney show, Disney Plus show, Noah. Congrats on your Pet Sematary 4K win today. DC fanboy, I'm so glad you made it, but we've only got like a minute left. I feel horrible. Oh no, I don't want Maya Hawke for Spider-Gwen, Hugo Byrne. I want Haley Steinfeld, who voices the character in Spider-Verse. Max, I would love if a Birds of Prey post-credit scene introduced Poison Ivy and Catwoman, but I don't think they would cast those characters until they see how well Birds of Prey does. I think from a business perspective, that's too strong a commitment to make if you don't know if you're going to continue as is. Jake says, orange juice, apple juice, or grape juice. Oh, I like all juices, but I actually don't drink any juice because of the sugar aspect, even fruit sugars. But I guess if I was going to drink juice, I would go, and I don't like purple grape juice. I like white grape juice. So I guess I would go apple juice, white grape juice, then orange juice. I like orange pineapple juice the best. What do I think the Russo brothers are teasing? I think it's a Duffer Brothers collaboration, as I said on my video. All right, it's 1:34. I must go. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for accommodating the earlier stream. Tomorrow, back to the regular time at 4 p.m. as we count down to Comic-Con, starting really late Wednesday night. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.